everyone, I hope you're having a great day and welcome to a new episode of Pharma Inside, the talk show created by Platforce with the aim to connect, network, and exchange ideas with professionals from the pharma industry from all over the world. My name is Juliana Kreisel, and I will be one of your hosts for today. This episode is dedicated to commercial excellence in the era of AI. We will discuss how AI driven tools are reshaping sales and marketing strategies in the pharma industry. Our experts will discuss common challenges like regulations, HCP engagement, and consent, offering insightful case studies and experiences. As you may know, I'm not the only moderator for today, so I will introduce my co host and co moderator as Mr. Stefan Repin, Head of Marketing here at Platforce. Hi, Steph.
Hello, Juliana. How are you, everyone? I hope you're good on this Thursday. It feels like a Friday to me, but we're gonna make the best we can to make this show a show to remember for you. And we have some amazing guests today. And again, the topic is AI. Can't talk enough about AI. So without further ado, let's introduce the guests. Right? That's why we are here.
Definitely. So, I would like to introduce our first guest for today, Mr. Mohamed Amer. Hello, Mohamed. How are you?
Hi, Juliana. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? How's everything?
All is well. Welcome to all the guests.
Well, we're so happy to have you here. Thank you. Thank you kindly for joining. And our second guest, Muhammad Sahad. Hi, how are you?
Hi Juliana, hi Stefan, hi Amer. I am good. Hope you are doing good too.
Yes, thank you
All good.
all. Thank our panel for joining and our attendees for tuning in. Before we start, I just have a few announcements. First, as you know, we would love to hear from you, so don't hesitate to drop your comments in the or questions in the comment section. I will share. I would love to share that in this special occasion, we have my colleague and social media guru Malen Durso, and she is going to help me introduce your ideas to the panel live in this stream. And my second announcement, and I promise this is the last one, I wanted to remind you that we would love to hear from you directly in how we can improve our comments. So for this, we have prepared a brief form with some topics on what we can bring or what topics we can discuss on the future. So please do not forget to leave your comments and questions. Malin will be there. And as well as she's going to post the link for this form. So please complete it. So without any further delay and without any announcements, let's start this topic and this talk show. Steph? Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, awesome to see everyone. So we have a topic which is discussed all the time about commercial excellence. Everyone wants to squeeze more money out of their territories. The territory manager are having a hard time, especially when now I'm seeing along some regions that because of AI, certain amounts of sales reps and field reps are cut down, and it is a doubtable strategy on my behalf. But without further ado, I would like to ask the following question. So, how do you, Mohammed, how do you guys define commercial excellence in the pharma industry, pharma life sciences, maybe biotech, and how is AI influencing this definition?
Yeah, Amer, please, if you want to go ahead.
Um, well, in the pharma world, the SFE is really a very sophisticated topic because in the selling world in general, selling a pharmaceutical or a medical device is one of the toughest job that anybody can have. And within the pharmaceutical industry, the sales rep is one of the most stressed people in the territory. So if you would like to define what is SFE, so it is defined by the metric that can measure how effective is the sales activities that are done by the medical rep is. So that depends a lot on the metrics that you are using. That depends a lot on the territory, the type of product that you are using, and it depends as well on the strategy that you are or that you are implementing, and the market segment that you are in. So SFE by itself is how do you assess the effectiveness of your sales force in all aspects, from deployment, from territory alignment, from activity planning to activity implementation or execution, to how do you manage your incentive scheme or bonus scheme in order to motivate your medical reps, to have you train your medical reps. All these are under the umbrella of Salesforce Excellence.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah, Amer, agreed on your points. Just to add on these points, that commercial excellence evolved by the times. It start from sales force effectiveness, sales force automation. It's a different, you can say, the different terminology used in different times, because I have seen the evolution of commercial excellence in last 15 to 18 years. So, to me, in addition to all these things, you have mentioned that commercial excellence is basically focusing on the impact of resources that we have
Mm-hmm.
overall. And the sales rep is our biggest resource. If I talk about the pharma world, because in pharma world we do not have mass media marketing, social media marketing at that span. Our customer is focused, and we are going to see our customers, that is the healthcare professionals. So in this scenario, the biggest resource that we have is our sales force. So commercial excellence evolve around that the biggest resource. If you talk about sorry, it's I think eco in the sorry. So, commercial excellence basically focusing on the impact of resources, especially the sales team, their calls that start from the deployment that Amer says, their planning, their execution, and the impact of that resources that we have deployed in front of SCP. Not only the sales rep, but it also covers the efforts or the resource from the managers as well. The coaching time, coaching resources that managers is giving to that sales rep, how that work and the performance of the sales rep is going to be improved in either in qualitative way or in the quantitative way both. So basically, commercial excellence evolves around the productivity of the sales team of the market, or the marketing campaigns as well. So to me, this is the commercial excellence, and obviously, by the time things are going to add in this, now we are in the era where we are engaging our SCPs digitally from different mediums, not only the face-to-face calls. Now we have the omni-channel approach, where we are also engaging customers by using different digital mediums as well.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing the omnichannel come out more and more in the conversation, actually. To be honest, and I'm seeing that omnichannel. Well, doctors don't have historically doctors don't have a lot of time, so omnichannel is there to help the medical rep, unless marketing, pharma marketing is working together with the medical reps, the field force, because very often I see that global marketing or marketing comes with a message which the field reps do not use, and then it becomes a mess. Like then omnichannel does not make sense. But guys, let's turn back to the initial question. Are you have you seen any good usage of AI, artificial intelligence, embedded into maybe your example or an example of a company that you've seen when it comes to commercial excellence, Salesforce excellence?
I
Yeah,
don't.
sorry, Amr, please
Yeah, go
go ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead, Sajjad.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen, for this. I think AI is, you can say, from commercial excellence point of view, we are starting on the AI. We are the beginners. We can't say that we are continuously using AI, but obviously it starts in the pharma sector as well. Initially, I've been experienced with my one of my previous organization in the last 2 to 3 years, where we have started the sales budgeting through AI, because we have historical data, we have historical performances. So while setting the sales target for the sales team, it helps. And at the end it ends up around 95 to 98% accuracy versus the actual sales ca- came from on the respective period. So that's the one of the example that I have, you can say, the experienced. Apart from the sales target, I have also experienced, and we have practices recently. We are using AI tools like ChatGPT for the knowledge part, where our reps can easily get knowledge or get some content from the chat gpt or like other tools, where they have to search on the google, but chat gpt or other like or tools like chat gpt are, you can say, very supportive if they want to search an article, search an case, you can say the study regarding any product, any molecule, so they can find out. So these are the few examples that I have witnessed. But obviously, there are lots to go in the pharma sector, especially in the pharma commercial excellence, because we have a lot of data. In COMEX, we have a lot of data in terms of SCP behavior by the time, how their adoption ladder changed during the time, what we have invested on the SCP, and what are their output in the adoption ladder. So we have a lot of data, not only the in the customer interaction, but also on the sales level. We have pharmacy level sales, we have IQVIA data available. So we have a lot of data, but it's time to convert that data into information, and that information should be converted into the insights, because normally we are hanging around the data and the big data. During handling the big data, we are more investing our time on the data part, but we are not converting that data into information and insight. So that's the part. Amar, please.
Yeah, I think that's well said. We have so many information, and that has been the case for years and years now with the IMS, and that is now IQVIA, and having pharmacy level or territory level data, and how to correlate that with the real performance of each medical representative in his territory or her territory, and how to correlate that as well with the market share that he or she are generating. All these are aspects that AI has started to play a big role, because before that we used to have various BI tools to be able to correlate the data that are coming from the activity, or to correlate the results that are being achieved to the activities that are reported on the CRMs. And this is the future now. The way I see it is that when you are trying to assign certain target to a medical representative or a territory, you have to look into a lot of factors, including the historical sales data within that territory, the market share, which product is the market leader, and how is it progressing, how did it progress historically speaking. And if you can associate that as well with a little bit of market intelligence, that in the form of knowing what is the competitors doing in that particular territory, or in the city, or in the country per se, then you have, I would say, a path forward into assessing your action plans and deciding what to do with your medical representatives and how to deploy them, and in the best way to ensure their productivity and to ensure that you are getting the best possible outcome out of them. Or maybe you can also decide to move reps between territories, or move them from one city to the next, based on the insight that you take out of the artificial intelligence and the business intelligence tools that predict for you what is the real productivity for the medical representative. Because like Sajjad said, it is the single biggest investment that a pharmaceutical company is doing commercially, is to have a sales force. So the trick is how can you ensure that this investment is paying off and that you're getting your investments worth in the best possible outcome or the best possible return.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, since sales reps are the best, actually, I've learned it from you, Mohammed. When we had a session back in February, um, you said it clearly and loud that well, sales reps, field force is the biggest expense that a pharma company has. You, my question would be: is it the research R&D for drugs? Is it cheaper in comparison with the field force expense, or it's more, or there is more expense on the field force?
No, of course. The globally speaking, if you talk about the R&D, R&D is more expensive, of course, because you spend billions in order to arrive at the stage of commercialization and all the R&D phases. I'm talking from the commercial aspect. When you are trying to invest post launch, then the
Yeah.
sales force will cost you the most. The
Yeah, we
cost
are
of the
talking
sales
about
force
once we
is
have
more.
product. Yeah. Once we
Yeah,
have
go
product
ahead.
available for the marketing, so we are talking about that post part, not from the you can say the pre part of the drug manufacturing. We are talking about the commercialization because like FMCGs, we don't invest on the mass media marketing, social media marketing, because there are legal, you can say, the limitations, and not only the legal but also the ethical limitations, because our customer is HCP. So the HCP is the person who is prescribing the products, because patient cannot take drugs directly. So ethically, we are not allowed to do the mass media marketing, and we are not doing like that. So it's our sales rep who is going to the doctor or to the HCP to to promote their products and share their messages as per their marketing plans. And countries like Pakistan, where we have high share of voice market, because we have a lot of doctors available in Pakistan, and geographically the spread is very high. So it's very important that we deploy, as Amar already said, that we are deploy our reps in the high potential territories. Obviously, we have a lot of BI tools, IQVIA data available, where we can identify the top potential areas where we have to invest, because we have limited resource in any way as far as the human resource is concerned. So we are deploying in those areas, and we are getting best from those areas. And not only at the time of deployment, but after execution, we are continuously monitoring that deployment, that either it works, because if we plan 50 territories, it's not that all 50 territories are progressing well. So we have to do some corrective actions during the period as well. If two or four, three territories are not performing, then we have to go with our plan B, or to the other parts as well. So it's very important to continuously monitor your resource, monitor your people. Either they are productive, like Amer already said, their calls are productive because they are doing in countries like Pakistan, especially where anti-infectives are dominating as far as the therapeutic class is concerned. Our rep is normally doing 13 to 14 calls per day. So at the end of the month, it ends up around 300, 350 calls for a single rep. So and in every call, they are promoting two to three products. So if you count on the details, it's end up around 1,000 details uh, from one medical rep in a month. So normally we have field size from 50 to 150. So you can count how many details or how many messages that we are giving of particular recipes in a month. So it's very important, and to get the benefit from those, we are from commercial excellence perspective, we are not only focusing on the capacity part, that deployment and the call rate and the we can say the frequency of the medical rep, but it's also part of commercial excellence. We are working on their qualitative part. We are working for their training and development. Either his rep is enough capable to deliver the right message in the SCP chamber, to convert those messages into the productivity area. So it's commercial excellence who is doing end to end from the capacity and the capability building point of view, both from the both perspective. And not only the reps, as I already mentioned, that the manager role is very important, who is coaching four or six reps in their area. So commercial excellence is very plays a very important role, that how manager is spending time with their reps and where he is spending his time. So this is the area where we have to focus. And apart from sales force effectiveness, because I told you that SFE is evolved from last 15 years, from, you can say, the basic customer relationship management to that the commercial excellence level. Now we also focusing on the marketing part, how we are building our marketing plans, how we are creating content to make it more interactive with the HCP, and how we can get, rather than having same slides from time to time, where HCP cannot find anything, any value addition for them, so they are not giving, you can, the attention to sales rep. So it's very important to kept all the areas from marketing and sales perspective in under the umbrella of commercial excellence, and make all efforts in the productive outcomes. So this is what important. And like you said, yeah, AI will very, you can say, the very will be very helpful for us. It's important to initiate AI initiatives in the commercial excellence perspective, because previously it's the role of analyst, either it's a BI analyst, SFE analyst, who are supporting business to giving them insights. But with AI now we have machine in addition to a person who can also support business to have, you can say, the insights and information about the business, where they can make uh, you can say known decisions, rather than having decision on the gut feeling and their previous experience. That now team can do a data driven decision can easily with these tools. And AI can also support us to expand our horizon from 1 year to 5 to 10 years, based on the previous data, based on the IQVIA or market insight, how that particular molecule is behaving, how the disease prevalence in the respective country is prevailing and progressing. So AI can also help us to devise our strategic plans for next 5 to 10 years of a company.
Hmm. That's a good insight about the forecasting. Mr. Amer, would you like to add anything about forecasting? I think AI is a very strong tool, very strong. Um,
It is
yeah.
indeed. It is, and it is not going to be only in forecasting. I mean, the SFE journey starts from the marketing team, actually, not from the sales team. It starts from the marketing team understanding the product very well and segmenting their market correctly and defining the criteria for the customers, or the HCPs in that case.
Yeah.
When the marketing defines what criteria should be used in order to segment the HCPs and decide who is going to prescribe and who is a late adopter who's not going to be prescribing right now, these things and the abundance of data by time is going to be done using AI algorithms. So it will select for the medical rep who are the doctors to be targeted in the beginning and who are the doctors to follow after while you are launching the product.
Yeah.
More than that, uh, and in within the scope of SFE as well, and within the scope of forecasting, analysis, like what Sajjad exactly said, instead of being done by a person, it's going to be done already using BI algorithms that are capable of changing the medical rep and the territory's forecast based on the investment that the company wants to put in. Because at the end of the day, some of the products, for example, take as an example the chronic diseases products that are treating hypertension or diabetes.
Mhm.
These are products that require less promotional effort than products that are treating acute medications. And why is that? Because there is a lot of repeat prescriptions going on. Once you put an HCP and he gets to know that one medication is effective for hypertension, he starts to give it to more patients. And these patients start to repeat their prescriptions across the year. So it's one prescription will result in much more sales than when you are prescribing a pain medication, for example, or an anti-infective. In that case, one prescription equals one patient or one box. While you are talking about chronic medications, you are talking about one prescription equal multiple boxes, maybe even 12 boxes. So it's very costly. Who was that?
Said, good to hear different
So
music.
yeah, in that respect, you will see that the deployment of medical reps will be a lot dependent on the type of product and the segment as well. If you are talking about um the private market where a hospital is purchasing and dispensing their medication based on prescription only, so they're making small purchases every month, that's different from having to go into a tender in order to sell your product or your medication into a tender setting. You have to work on the deal for too long, but you get sizable sales out of your work. So again, how many medical reps should you put in the account? Is it the same like the private market or no? All these will be very easy to analyze using AI algorithms later on to decide the deployment of the medical rep, the correct frequency of visits per medical rep. Because like what Sajjad said, every single call has a cost. So shifting the calls from one doctor to the other might be a correct strategy to increase your productivity in that particular territory.
Guys, we have a question from the audience, so I'm going to post it here.
Yeah.
It says, can you explain what you include in hyper-personalization? What are the critical elements of it? Because we have a that's answering a comment, but we can bring it up. It says hyper-personalization is the key and psychographic approach is the game changer. Do you have any inputs to share or to ask the question that was asked below?
Yeah, appreciate if he can further explain on this what he want to say on this. Amer, if you have anything to respond.
What I can say is that hyper personalization is not yet in the healthcare industry sales. I think what he is talking about has been implemented already in other industries, especially the retail industries, that gather a lot of insights about the customer who is, or in the FMCG, and trying to talk to patients through hyper segmentation. And you can see that many products who are in the FMCG realm are having the same product in 12 different packs to cater to 12 different segments of customers, because they understand through the amount of data available to them what each of these micro segments want and need. If that's what he's talking about, then I think it's not yet in the healthcare industry yet, at least not in the prescription medicines. Maybe
Yeah,
in the
what
OTC to a smaller extent.
Yeah, yeah. Amar, just to add on that, in pharma, obviously we don't have that hyper personalization. We have only insights about the HCP, their preferences, their prescription preferences. You can say his buying motive, about his buying motives. We are gathering some information in terms of, you can say, the profiling and prospecting perspective. But obviously we don't have such data that Amar has already told. One thing that I want to mention here, apart from the profiling and the prospecting part, especially in the digital era, where we have witnessed a lot of digitalization during the COVID time. Because COVID, what I think that COVID moved or shrink the time of the digitalization. What the pharma is moving in the slower pace, but during the COVID, they have, you can say, speed up the digital things very well and very fast. But during that time, what I have witnessed that a lot of a bombardment, you can say the digital bombardment from pharma companies for the HCPs, where everybody is going with webinars, WhatsApp messages, emails to the HCP, a lot of bombardment to the HCP. I think for that point, like we are doing the you can the profiling and the prospecting part from for the SCP. I think for the digitalization and the omni-channel, especially in the omni-channel era or omni-channel engagement, we also to do the digital segmentation of the HCP as well. What is the preference, yeah, or the preferred channel for the HCP that he want or he or she want to interact with the pharma companies? Either they want to have emails, promotion product emails from the company, or he or she want to attend the webinars, or they prefer the WhatsApp channel, or like these things. Or there are some, you can the SCP specific web portals where they can find the medical information as well, because we cannot go with every channel, every medium to every HCP. So I think that can be also be helpful.
Thank you for that. We have another question. Come on, the guys are waking up. I will say the attendees. Uh,
Yeah.
the question is: nowadays, pharmaceutical industry in Pakistan is usually the link. They link is usually linked KPIs with incentives calculation. Do you think isn't it a demotivating factor among the field force, and is it create a bad impact in the sales target achievement?
Yeah, I want to answer on this. I
Please.
think it's a yeah, it's a blessing for the sales team, not the motivating factor as far as my concern, because company is incentivizing on your efforts as well,
Hmm.
rather than on the results, that is the sales. Because if you are in a growing territory, companies incentivizing your efforts, that you are doing such number of calls, you are doing number of details in that territory, rather than waiting for your sales achievement. They are supporting you to by incentivizing your KPIs. Yes, it's very important what are the KPIs, to whom they are focusing on, and how they are linking with with the incentive part. But I think the qualitative part always support sales rep to focus on their qualitative area, their effort area, rather than having the only the sales number. So it will be a, you can say the motivating factor. But as Amar already said, that it's basic core job of commercial excellence team, that how we are incentivizing our team, what are the KPIs, what are the key features of the incentive policy. So it's the job of the commercial excellence with the coordination of the commercial leads or the commercial team.
Great. I think we had discussed that prior in some other call or another event, that the importance of KPIs, because some people thought that they were very restrictive or they were like controlling. I think the word control was used, but as you said before, it's an incentive. It's important in order to help you get you to the results, correct? Or is it I'm not getting it as it should?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you as it's same like that. It's paying off for your efforts to
Mm,
go on that territory, because it's not that simple. If you go in a territory where we have the X amount of number it's currently producing, and you want to go on the Y, and for example, if you want to achieve a target of $10,000 from a territory, or $5,000 from a territory, and currently territory is on the $1,000, so it's not an easy that you can turn around the sales from $1,000 to $5,000 in a month or in a quarter. It will take time. But during that time, company is taking care of yourself and supporting you through incentive. Because in countries like Pakistan, the major part of the you can say the compensation of the sales rep is derived from the incentive, mostly organizations.
okay.
Yeah.
Steph or Amer, do you have anything to
Yeah,
add?
yeah. My question would be about we had a question about hyper-personalization, and thank you for explaining it. I have an interesting topic here, though. So we're talking about, you were saying about that with a certain medicine, you want to approach certain KOLs, and then after you start engaging with the KOLs, and getting market access for the well, after you get the market access for the drug, you have some sort of hyper personalization, right? Which you well develop with omnichannel. Now, like for that particular doctor, like he or she gets that particular sequence, and then of course you have certain branded messages. You have the next best action, which tells you what to do next with that particular KOL. Um, my question would be this: how do you see the work of field sales reps in the future, where maybe you've heard, maybe not, there are certain researches where they say that there's going to be hyper personalized medicine in the future, where basically patients will get hyper personalized medicine, where no medicine will be alike, and there's going to be like very small cohorts of medicine which goes to just a very small amount of the population. How would you approach, well, like, just let's brainstorm here. How do you see the future of the field rep in this situation?
Well, with the, let's say, the evolution of the precision medicine, you will see that the job of the medical rep will radically change. Let me try to explain. Historically speaking, the HCPs had very little resources to get information, and they were relying a lot on pharmaceutical companies and healthcare companies to provide them with updated medical information through the medical reps. And the number of medical reps were very few at that time. Okay, by time the marketing the medications became the biggest activities being done by the pharmaceutical companies, and the number of reps have increased dramatically, and their competition for the time of the doctor has increased dramatically as well. And with that evolution came the evolution of information as well. So the doctors started to get a bombardment of information, like what Sajjad said, through, instead of relying on a medical journal that they used to receive in mail once a month, they are seeing that instantly via the internet. And they can look for any information that they want and get the updates the time that they are happening everywhere around the world. So instead of traveling from Argentina to Europe to attend the European Society of Cardiology meeting, for example, they can attend a virtual session while they are in their offices. Okay, so the next evolution that is going to come will see the medical reps less and less needed to give information to the doctors. Okay, however, with personalized medicines, the proper guidance for the doctors from the pharmaceutical companies will evolve again, but not in the form of what we call now the medical representatives, but they are going to be members of the medical team that we now call the medical science liaison, MSLs. And the MSLs are going to increase in number, okay, at the expense of the traditional medical rep. Because the MSL, by definition, is not a job that is bound to a sales target. It's a job which has the objective of explaining the science behind the medicines and explaining the science behind a certain medical category. Okay, and we have seen that evolve in some companies already, starting to rely more on medical science liaisons than on traditional medical representatives. Okay, so I think that is going to be the future when more and more precision medicines are there. And it is going to be a very high productivity function, or a high productivity rep. The value generated by one MSL is going to be enormous, because of course, the prices of precision medicine is going to be much higher than traditional medicines.
We have a comment regarding this. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
He's saying, thank you, Stefan, for bringing this up. As per my opinion, due to precision medicine in the future, MSL will be on the top of the chain. And as Mr. Amer is saying, evolution in pharma industry will reduce the role of medical rep, but MSL will be more in action. And he is really enjoying this call at this talk show. So we're here to please. We're here. We love to hear that you're like in this talk show.
And we don't have Mohamed Sajjad's answer on this. I'm really curious about Mr. Sajjad's comment on
Yeah,
this.
I think Amer covered the thing. Then Kashif already commented on that because pharma company has started working on the medical part, and they have now big medical teams with the support of MSLs. Previously, we have only one or two resources in the head office who is, you can say, that working on the content part of the product and the medical department. But with the time, the you can the functionality or the impact of the medical is going to increase in these days because doctors see lot of value addition if MSL is coming in their chamber because pharma reps are more focused on the product part. But whenever the MSL goes in the chamber of ICP, he always there to give him some new information about the disease, the coming technologies or the coming R&Ds. So doctors are enjoying to interact with the MSL. It, as Amar said, that a lot of company have started, especially companies who are in the chronic segment, who are already doing this because there are a lot of scientific discussion. Doctor are doing a lot of scientific discussion with those companies reps. Yeah, in acute, right now, you can say the MSLs are not that much active, but by the time now MSLs are, you can say, increasing in these areas. So sooner it will, you can say that it will be the equal impact or maybe the bigger impact from rather than sales team. So things will move in that way. And
Yeah.
for this, I think just to add on that, the training part and the capability part is also very important from rep perspective as well. Because normally we are focusing on the commercial part, the product reps are focusing more on the, you can say, the fabs of or the features of the product, but they also should be, you can say, equipped with the medical information as well. So here the capability building part comes to play important role.
I'll comment here. Oh, okay. We have a question.
Yeah.
So I'll just comment really briefly. My comment is this. So I have a friend who works as an MSL in the United States, and well, basically, how he meets doctors is like he tries to influence them. Like give them information, uh, studies, researches, so they are most informed. And very often, this is information. Doctors don't have time to like interact with you, and he had the problem that like he gives this information, he doesn't know whether the doctor has interacted or not with the information. Now, because we are talking about AI here, there is a tool that he's been testing and has been quite successful. It's called Humata.ai, where you can basically upload it can be saved on locally on your server or on your computer, so no data goes outside. I know that pharma is really crazy about AI, that information can be leaked outside and so on. So this tool is very well safe. You upload your information, your PDFs, specifically PDFs and documents, into Humata, and you can have a conversation with the data. You can ask certain questions that you have, so you don't need to skim over hundreds and thousands of pages of research for a particular drug or medicine. I'm gonna post the tool in the comments. This is one way how everyone, including the audience, can use AI to improve their commercial excellence, right? Their productivity. Now, let's hear the next question, Juliana.
Yes, definitely. The next question says, What would you say are the key factors for successful AI adoption within pharma commercial operation? Who wants to tackle that?
Yeah, if I start on that, I think the
Please.
quality of data, quality of input data is very important if you want to predict something in the future. Because normally we don't, in the most of the organization, we are not focusing on the quality of the data. It's very important because AI will ultimately populate, you can say, the run on the logarithm on the available data, because it's very important to enter the right data, right trends, and you can say the one-off. There are a lot of one-off factors. For example, in during COVID, we see a raise in the acute medicine, which are, you can say, which are used, which were used on the treatment of the COVID, corona or
Mm,
COVID. So it's a one-off. You cannot predict, you cannot forecast future sales on the basis of during on the sales that we have driven during the COVID period. So it's very important that quality of data and the one-off trends that we have witnessed previously. So it may impact that area. Apart from that, the biggest, you can say, what I saw a lot of I saw a lot of change in that as well, but mindset is very important, because first you have to believe on those tools, then you will go on that part. Because if you want to drive data as per your own feelings, own experience, or how you want to see data, that how you want, you want results like that. If you want, like you are forecasting, or you are okay, what I can say, that you are focusing on your previous experiences. So I think first you have to change your mindset as well. You have to challenge yourself as well. It's not that every time experience went wrong, but every person should challenge their feelings, their gut feelings with the data as well.
okay.
So these two things. Amari?
Well, yes, that's very well said, Sajjad. Definitely, the first thing to think about when you're deploying an AI solution is the data set that you have. What kind of data are you going to use in order to utilize this AI algorithm? And second, or the second most important part is which function or which area of business are you going to deploy this?
Yeah.
And to me, one of the most important areas that you can deploy is the CLM, the closed loop marketing, because
Yeah.
closed loop marketing as a concept was came into the healthcare industry, I think, more than 15 years ago, and still to date, I think it's underutilized. But using the AI in order to analyze all the data that are coming from the CRM and are coming from the marketing tools that the sales team is using can greatly enhance how CLM is being adopted and utilized, and can drive a change in the recommendations or in the action plans of the medical rep created by the CLM based on their behavior in the usage of the CLM tools, as well as the results that are being generated. So if you are using the AI correctly in that area and correlating the usage of the CLM with the activity that is being done with the target customer, because all this data is already internal data that's available with the pharma company once it deploys the correct CRM tool, such as Platforce, by the way. And in that respect, if you can correlate that as well with IQVIA data or any data that's available from the market, individualizing the sales results and the market share results, then definitely you can come up with an actionable uh, action plan or an actionable items that you deploy within your CLM tools and your CRM to create a proper action to change the deployment of the sales force, as Sajjad earlier suggested, or to change even the promotional line. Because if you're in somewhere where you have to promote 2 or 3 different products, maybe one of them is not compatible with the other 2, or the target customers are dramatically different. So you will find out what is being done by the medical rep and how the customer is responding to the medical rep's actions this way.
Great. Steph, do you have
Yeah,
any?
yeah, sure. So in fact, we have we have a colleague who wants to ask a question. He just posed it to me in a personal chat. Okay, so Andre wants to ask a question. So, how can small organizations compete with larger players who have more resources to invest in AI-driven commercial excellence initiatives? Again, how can smaller organizations compete with larger players who have more resources to invest into AI-driven commercial excellence initiatives?
I think that's an excellent question.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yes. One thing is prioritization. Okay. When you are looking for a tool, an AI tool to deploy in your company, you have to be, I would say, I don't want to say careful, but you have to do your due diligence in order to find out which area of business you are going to deploy the AI into that is going to be the most productive for you. Because you'll not be able to deploy it in everything like what major companies are doing. I'll just give you an example. I was talking to a friend and I found out that his company has added Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, to all the employees. Okay, and thinking that they are employing over 12,000 people, this is a huge budget to have in their contract Copilot for all. And are they going to use it? How many, or what's the percentage of people who are going to use Copilot in their day-to-day job? Okay, so if you are a smaller company, then you will use the AI tool in the areas that are going to benefit from it most. For example, I would go directly to the sales and marketing teams and the medical teams, the customer-facing teams who are writing emails every day, trying to personalize these emails and trying to come up with better language to write in their emails. So in that respect, yes, I can utilize AI as a regenerative tool. I would deploy it as well, like I said in the beginning, in CRM and CLM, in order to make sure that I am trying to optimize my sales calls to the ultimate way possible, or to optimize it in a way to make sure that I am getting the maximum productivity from each call that is being made. So the prioritization here is key. The second thing is the selection of the right AI tool that you want. Maybe you don't need Copilot. Maybe you just need something else that is more suitable to what you want to do. So you have to think of your objective. Why are you looking for an AI tool? Are you going to use it? For example, most of the territories that you're having, are you promoting a niche product? So you need to really optimize the way that the medical representative is moving from one consultant to the other. So your medical rep, because in each location there is 1 or 2 consultants maximum. So if he has to do 10 visits a day, then he will need to visit 5 different hospitals. So the geographical planning of his action plan becomes really important. You see, so the prioritization still is key. Try to match the tools with the resources that you have to your objectives and your strategy to get to the best possible outcome.
Okay, well, let's ask Mr. Sajjad. Mohammed,
Yeah,
your your time
agreed.
to shine.
Yeah, agreed with Amer that prioritization is very important, and the selection of the tool is very important. Considering you can first you have to evaluate your situation of that company area where they are working segment they are working. Like Amar said that we have in the specialty company or the company with limited resources have their customers in multiple geographical locations. So they have to plan their working very efficiently in order to maximize their productivity. And you can say in those companies, role of commercial excellence and the role of AI is far important than the bigger companies. It's not that the bigger company don't want commercial excellence because, but with the limited resources, you cannot afford to waste a single resource because you have very limited resources. And if you start, you can say to fail to get the right response or right results from that resources, so it will be difficult by the time. So prioritization and the selection of the tool is very important, and the area where you want to deploy that tool and what you want to get out of from that tool is also very important. So it's more important to utilize your resource very efficiently, deploy your resources or your efforts to the high potential areas where you can get maximum productivity. It's not that high potential areas are based on the value, it's also the customer behaviors of that area or that specialty. Because if certain SCPs don't want to change their prescription behaviors, so it's not the high potential for you because they will not change their prescription behavior even you are visiting them twice a week or thrice a week. So you have to focus on those areas where you can get the early wins. So to maximize your the sales, which also give you the more resources for the future as well, because you can earn or you can generate your future resources from your current sale.
Great. Thank you. We have 3 minutes away. So to end up, I want to bring a comment that I think fits to the future inputs. It says, can you discuss any innovative AI-driven commercial strategies that are on the horizon for the pharmaceutical industry as a close-up?
Yeah, I think everybody is working on that because most of the companies are now focusing on the long-term strategies rather to have short-term strategy. Because for the sustainable performance, you need such AI tools to who can predict your future. You can say the future, not only the forecast, which are the segments where you have to go, considering the market dynamics, how market is changing, what are the segments that are growing, what are the segments where we have room to enter, and that segment should be some correlation with your existing you can say the expertise. Or you can also decide to go in the new segments, but obviously that required additional resources and some some working from zero. So it's depend on on your strategy or your future aspiration as well. Because sometimes your existing segment or existing therapeutic area is more saturated where you cannot get the growth for the future. So it's very important where companies should focus for the long-term planning, not only the for sales, it's also the segment, their future launches, because market data will give you ample information and you can say the insights about your future focus. So you can use that area. And one very important area where sometimes we are getting challenges is the supply chain area. That also pharma companies streamline their supply chain process concerning the past behavior, because sometimes some product is you can say performing radically uh, better than the previous one, and sometime with the addition of new molecules, your star product or your star product can get drastically down because a new molecule can change the prescription behavior of the SCP. So using AI in your supply chain, the whole supply chain process from raw material to finished product can also support you to plan efficiently in your supply chain, not to maintain inventory, but also have the cost-effective solutions or cost-effective things which can also help you to improve your bottom line as well, your productive profitability as well. So that can be used.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mohammed, do you have something to add?
Well, I cannot think of much to say after what Sajjad has said, but maybe an area like market access can utilize a lot of AI algorithms there to define the segments, how to deal with insurance, what is the correct level of discounting or other market access strategies that are going to be utilized, relying on analysis of historical data as well as the market trends and the what is known already of the new medications that are going to come in the market and the generics that are exist in the market. So when these are analyzed correctly, then it can drive a successful market access decision regarding dealing with insurance reimbursement or even bidding in certain tenders and winning them.
Great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you
Yeah.
can call it smart tendering or smart market access. I call it smart tendering. Yeah, it's very important.
You need to copyright that name before someone else steals it. Okay. Thank you so much for being part of this incredible panel and this talk show. I cannot appreciate enough that you took the time from your agendas. I want to thank our attendees, as always, for being so kind and for taking the time for allowing us to do this. We love to be on camera with Stefan, so this gives us an opportunity. And uh, please, if you have any questions or any comments for our attendees, for our speakers, sorry, attendees, you can always leave them on the comment section, or you can look for them on LinkedIn. I highly suggest that, and get their inputs. For me and for us, this is it for today. I want to remind everyone that please fill out the form so we know what you want to hear about next. And thank you all. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and have a great Friday and a great weekend. So I will see you all for our next Pharma Insights. Bye, everyone.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.